Hi, today I'm making a grain-free granola. This is going to be one that is high in omega-3s. It does have some omega-6s. I'm not going to bake it in the oven. I'm using my dehydrator because we don't want to heat nuts and seeds too high. We don't want heated oils because that can create inflammation in the body. So what I'm going to start with are my chia seeds and my flax seeds. Both of these have a lot of omega-3 fatty acids, which are great for inflammation. I want a 1/4 cup total of flax and chia, so I'm just going to pour in about, I don't measure, about 1/4 cup or 2 tablespoons of chia, and then this is ground flaxseed and about 2 tablespoons of ground flaxseed. Now you could use the whole seeds too, you just want to soak them a little bit longer. So my chia seeds are not ground. Whenever you're using ground flaxseed, you want to make sure you keep it in the freezer. Now I buy mine whole, I grind it in a coffee grinder, and then I put this in the freezer. Okay, so I'm going to add 1/4 cup of seeds here, 1/2 cup of water, 3/4 cup. You want times 3 to make kind of a flax egg or a chia egg. It's kind of an egg substitute. So however much you have, you want to times 3 for your liquid. So I'm going to let that sit, and it will get very gelatinous, mucilaginous. It's wonderful for the whole mucosal system, the nose through the intestines, healing any inflamed areas. Okay, now I'm going to add my flavoring. I want some vanilla. Let's put in a teaspoon of vanilla. I don't normally measure. And I want to put in 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. I think I have some here. 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. I love cinnamon. You could do more. Just adjust it to whatever flavor you want. And then I do like to add a little bit of salt. I like the pink Himalayan salt. Any of your sea salts would be great. And so I'm going to put in 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And then for my sweetener, instead of like maple syrup that could cause a blood sugar fluctuation, I'm going to put in 1/4 teaspoon of Lohan. Some people call it monk fruit. See what color that is? It is not white. It is not a highly processed substitute. This is the real Lohan from the fruit. Okay, so I'm going to stir that in. So I'm just flavoring my chia and my flax. Chia and flax don't have a lot of flavor. And then I'm going to add my nuts and seeds. So you could add whatever you want. I just want 2 cups of nuts and seeds. Some people like to add oats, but I want mine grain-free. I'm going to add 1/4 cup of almond butter, which is not an omega-3, but you could use any nut butter or seed butter. I actually really love sun butter. I didn't really like it when I first had it, but I love sun butter, and sun butter would be really good too. So I have 1/4 cup of almond butter, whatever you want. I'm going to stir that in there. It's a little bit more difficult to stir in. And I just like 1 bowl dishes. That's why I'm doing it all in 1 bowl. Some people make the gel, chia, flax gel separate, but just make it all in 1 bowl. So like I said, I want 2 cups total. So I have 1/2 cup here. I'm going to put in 1/2 cup of walnuts. I'm going to see if I have 1/2 cup of pecans. My pecans are a little low. Yep, I'll have to fill that up with some extra pecans. You could chop them if you want smaller pieces. I'm not even chopping mine. These are just halves. Then I want 1/2 cup of sunflower seeds. Sunflower lecithin is so good for us, and 1/2 cup of pumpkin seeds. So these are very high in zinc. We have the omega-3s, we have some omega-6s, we have a lot of fiber. We even have selenium in our sunflower seeds. We could add Brazil nuts. The options are endless. Any nuts and seeds, about 2 cups. Now I'm going to stir this up. And it's starting to hold together a little bit. Stir in that almond butter. It smells so good. I want to eat it just like this. Now this will be great on a smoothie bowl. You could, I'm gonna dry it in one piece and then just break it up. So you could break it up and make just like a cold cereal if that's something that you grew up with that you like to have. I like to put it on top of, like I'll make a chia parfait on top of my smoothie. Sometimes I get a craving for a cereal, which is weird because I didn't even grow up eating cereal. But sometimes I just want that. Okay, I think I have it blended really well. It's clumping together. See that? It's clumping. And so now let me get my dehydrator trays. I bought this sheet on Amazon. You can cut to fit. It goes right on top of your dehydrator trays. And I have 2 trays here just in case it's enough to cover 2 trays, but I think I'm just going to do 1. Smells so good with that vanilla and the cinnamon. I'm going to taste a little bit to see if I put in enough Lohan. That's perfect. Okay. Spread it all out. And it just depends on how chunky you want it, how thin you want it to be. If I had chopped the pieces smaller, it would be a little bit thinner. The thinner it is, the less time it needs in the dehydrator. If you don't have a dehydrator, you can put your oven on its lowest setting. Mine will go to 170, which is still too hot. So I can put it in there. I could turn on the oven and then just turn it off and set it in there, or I could leave the door cracked open. But I have a nice dehydrator. Mine will go to, I think it will be 105, but I'll put it at 115, and I will leave this in there for, I like to do it at night and then leave it in overnight. But I will check it in about 10 to 12 hours and then break it apart. So I'll show you in about 10 hours what this looks like. All right, I spread it all out on my dehydrator tray. Here we go. It's gonna be a fabulous little treat, and I will be back with you in about 10 hours. All right, here is my granola. You can see it's still all in one sheet. It smells so good that you can see I have been stealing the edges. It tastes so good. But all I'm going to do is break it into these pieces, and then it is ready to be used as granola on cereal, on smoothie bowls, and things like that. It's delicious. It smells so good. I can't wait for you to try this. Okay, so here's our granola. So it's been about 16 hours maybe. There's still, some of these larger pieces are still a little squishy. Actually, this one's really hard. So if you have any soft spots, you can still put it in the dehydrator and continue drying. Or you can just put it all in the freezer after it cools. Let it cool completely, and then you can store it in a freezer container. And so it lasts that way. It's so delicious. I'm gonna eat it pretty fast, probably. Like I said, I kept stealing it from the freezer, from the dehydrator. But all I'm going to do is crumble this on top of our smoothie bowls this morning. It is gonna be so delicious. And I don't really need to crumble it that much. I just like to make sure I have bite-sized pieces. So I'll put some on that one, some on this one. It tastes so good. I can't wait for you to try this. That one was kind of soft. I think the ones that were in the middle are a little bit softer. You can go back in the dehydrator for just a little bit longer. And I hate to not give you exact times, but it really depends on where you live, the temperature and the humidity where you are as well. Anyway, here's our breakfast with our granola. I have smoothie bowls here with the granola on top. Let me know if you make this recipe. Please like and share my video, comment, because I always love to hear from you. And enjoy!